Welcome, everybody, to another Rare Disease Day interview. I am speaking with Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you feeling today?
Doing okay. The weather is starting to warm up, so I'm doing a little bit better.
Okay.
Just a lot of joint stuff going on.
Understand that. Understand that. Now, what autoinflammatory disease do you have?
I have familial Mediterranean fever, or FMF for short.
Okay. And how long ago were you diagnosed?
I was the age of 12 when I was diagnosed. I'm going to be 32 this year, and I actually started having symptoms at the age of 7,
Okay, so it took them a couple of years to figure out what was
almost
going
two
on.
decades.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, do you have people in your family who have a history of it, or?
Um, that was the confusing thing. We don't know. My
Okay.
mom's biological father, we don't know much about his side of the
Oh,
family,
okay.
and my dad's side of the family does not have anything that we know of. But just recently, through DNA stuff, we found out my mom's biological father is of Mediterranean descent. So we know
Oh,
for a
there you
fact that
go.
it has come from her side of the family.
Haha, there you go. Although what's interesting about FMF is it doesn't matter really where you're from because of the diaspora of the world and the way people have just like kind of migrated to different parts of the world. You could be from
Exactly.
anywhere really and have FMF. Absolutely. So, um, tell us a little bit about like your what you deal with as as an adult and trying to on a daily basis deal with FMF.
Mainly, the struggle right now is getting doctors to actually believe me. I do have one doctor that I've had for over a decade that has been helping me, a specific rheumatologist. He has been amazing, and he's advocated for me quite a bit,
Good.
where other doctors don't really believe him or me. So that's honestly been the most tricky part.
Now, have you had genetic testing at all or anything like that?
Yes, I did. That was the first thing that my pediatric rheumatologist at the
Oh.
time did.
And yet doctors still don't believe that you have FMF.
Precisely.
And let me guess, you're not the right ethnicity. Um,
Yep,
um,
exactly.
you can't have FMF. That's not many people get it. You can't have that. It doesn't happen in the
Exactly.
United States. These are people who are very in their bubble and don't understand how the world works. So, yeah, we
Exactly.
definitely feel your pain. I feel your pain. Now, um, now, what have you been doing? Like you said, you have a rheumatologist who's advocated for you. What has that been like having to go from doctor to doctor, but then you have a doctor that's advocated for you? Do you feel like you
it's been
wanted to
it's
stick with that doctor, but you've had to go to other doctors, and talk about how
um
frustrating that can be?
well, when I was 18, I had to try to find an adult rheumatologist, and going from doctor to doctor trying to get the referral to an adult rheumatologist was very tricky. But I would have to say the hardest transition was from pediatrics to adult. That was the most tricky part.
How did you handle not just with the doctor side of it? How did you handle going from being a pediatric who didn't have to really be responsible for yourself? Because I mean, I've been there. When you're a kid with FMF, it's very different than being an adult with FMF. So, how was that transition for you?
Um, it wasn't too bad because when I was in pediatrics, not only did my mom advocate for me, but I also did self advocate for myself at the time,
Good,
more so when I was in high school.
good.
So it was a little tricky, but it wasn't as bad because I was already advocating for myself at a young age.
Well, that's good. And that's important. That's kind of why we do this, so that we can share stories like yours to say, hey, you can stand up for yourself. You can tell people that what you have is real. So that's amazing that you were able to do that and advocate for yourself and have other people advocate for you, because there are plenty of FMF and autoinflammatory and rare disease patients out there who don't have anybody advocating for them, and in turn, it kind of makes it harder for them to advocate for themselves. I'm sure your mom advocating for you kind of motivated you to advocate for yourself a little bit.
It definitely did, yes.
Good, good. That's amazing. And when I mean, because obviously you're in your 30s, so when you were younger, Facebook wasn't a thing. So how has it been now being able to connect with other people with familial Mediterranean fever through the groups and everything?
It's actually been really great. One of my best friends actually has FMF,
Oh,
and we met on the Facebook support group site
amazing.
about almost 6 years ago.
That's
And we have
amazing.
been close ever since. I'm actually going to be making my way to meet her this summer in person.
That's amazing. I really am a strong proponent of the online community
Yeah.
for FMF for mental health, because there are so many people out there that can understand what we're going through. I mean, like you said, your best friend is someone you met through the FMF and AID support groups run
Yes.
by FMF and AID Global, and that's why those groups were created, so that people could connect. That's why we raise awareness, raise money, share stories, so that folks like you can say, hey, look, I found someone I can relate to and have become best friends with them now. You too can find that person. So that's incredible that you've been able to do that, Sarah. That's amazing. Now, do you work? What do you do for work?
I I do not work.
Okay.
I am disabled.
You're on SSDI as well.
I am
Awesome.
legally blind, so it's very
Okay.
hard for me to see.
Okay.
I have arthritis issues from that stemmed from the FMS. Um, but yeah, I'm disabled, unfortunately.
I don't say unfortunately, because we didn't ask for these diseases. I'm on SSDI as well, so I completely understand. Now, when you went and did you do it like right when you turned 18, or did you try
Yes,
out?
I did.
You did. See, I
Yes.
wish I had had someone tell me, hey, maybe you should go on SSDI right away with your FMF. So I tried to go to college. I ended up going back to college. I have 2 degrees. I tried to go out into the workforce, and your story is very important because it tells people, hey, you don't have to go suffer and struggle out in the real world. Go get on SSDI, and you're on SSDI, and on disability, but you could go out there and try and find a job if you wanted to. But what
Yeah.
SSDI does and has given you is that flexibility to worry about your health and take care of your health first. And we want FMF and AID Global to be that organization that people come to for advice like this. This is amazing, an amazing story to show that even at the age of 18, you can advocate for yourself and do the things to improve your life and make sure that you're staying healthy. So I give you so many kudos, Sarah, for standing up for yourself and going on disability so early, and not being, the word I'm going to use is ashamed, because many of us as adults are ashamed because we grew up in a generation where you go to school, you go to college, you get a job. And so I would like to say I'm proud of you for being someone who did advocate for themselves. I did it a little later in life. It took me a little while to realize it. So seeing your story, it uplifts me, and hearing that we want to give these resources to show that other people can do this too. I'm speechless a little bit. You're so brave to
Thank
be able,
you.
at the age of 18. You know how scary it is to go and do that, and to be like, no, I'm disabled, I have to deal with this, when I'm sure you had the pressure of so many people telling you, you got to go to college, you got to go get a job, you got to work, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And but no, you stood strong, and this is what Rare Disease Day is all about: advocating, raising awareness for folks like Sarah, who has FMF, has other things going on, obviously, because of your eye issues. I don't know if you had cataracts yet, because I've had cataracts because of the
Not yet.
steroids.
I actually have them starting to form, but I actually have a genetic eye condition,
Okay.
nearsighted myopia. We
Okay.
originally thought it was from the inflammation,
Yeah.
but about 2 years ago we discovered that that wasn't the case.
So yeah, and what is actually the case, just like Sarah, that so many of us with autoinflammatory deal with other underlying issues as well, and you never know because you've dealt with the autoinflammatory for so long if the FMF caused this other thing years ago that you don't know about, you know? And so that's something that I'm sure is always in the back of your mind, but it's good that you have, seems like you have good healthcare system, a good support system around you, that your family is there for you, your mother is there for you. Again, we're proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story, Sarah. And is there anything else you want to share before we go?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. So, Sarah, you have a great rest of your weekend. Keep celebrating Rare Disease Day because uh, we have a superpower. You know, we getting a phone call. It's okay. We have a superpower. Our superpower may be inflammation. You know, but we have a our genes are mutated. I like to say we're comic book heroes. So keep being strong, keep being brave, and keep standing up for yourself.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. You have a great day.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. So, folks, it's stories like this are incredible because we uh, we can never know what people are going through, and you could and a lot of us with what we're going through are very scared, very scared to be outspoken about it. So make sure that you're listening to stories like this, and that you're going to the FMF and AID Global Association website. You're going to the Streamlabs charity website. You're watching these interviews. You're spreading the awareness because that's what's most important. Even if you can only donate $1, that's fantastic. But please do share this interview with Sarah. Check out all our other interviews that we've been doing throughout Rare Disease Day weekend. And thank you, everybody, for watching this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled program on Rare Disease Day Streamathon.